Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. After our last launch of almost complete disaster, we have reviewed the rocket design and could not find anything inherently wrong with it. So we're going to just say it was a fluke, and we're going to launch again. And again, we'll be heading to the moon to collect some samples. And up Jebediah doing his hopefully lucky dance. Let's get this mission underway, and we'll talk about the rocket mid-flight. 2 seconds into the mission, we're already doing significantly better than we were in the last mission, which is good. And everything appears to be functioning fine. Let's go in and just have a look. Now this rocket does have some changes over our previous versions of the high-flying rocket. We do have an extra set of fuel tanks and some lights and some monopropellant, which is going to add some weight. So you'll see here that we don't quite make it to 7 kilometers, I wouldn't think, before the solid fuel burns out. Solid fuel is separated. Liquid rockets are a go. This rocket also has a reduced number of experiments. We only have one of the Science Junior bays. We also only have 3 thermometers instead of we were traveling with 6. We don't have any barometers because none of that should come into play on our mission here. As I said, we're going to attempt to land on the moon, gather some samples, run some tests, and return. Our craft has a few upgrades that should allow us to handle some eventualities that might come up. For instance, our craft has some lights positioned around the bottom of the craft in case our optimal descent path here will lead us onto the dark side of the moon. We'll be able to see what we're doing, where we're going. We also have new solar panels. Instead of having the flat panels around the surface of the rocket, we have our upgraded panels, which will gather more light, and they'll also track the sun, which will be very helpful. They'll allow us to stay on the surface for as long as we'd like, hopefully. Now, this design is one I've not used before to go to the moon, and as such, I'm not entirely sure that the 2 small fuel tanks that we have on board will be enough to do a powered descent and a powered ascent off the surface, as well as allow us to get back to our planet. If that is the case, we might have to launch a secondary, we won't call it a rescue mission for PR purposes, but a delayed launch orbital rendezvous mission to go pick up Jeb and his experiments from around the moon. That might have to happen. Now, because of the moon's position, where it is kind of in line with the way we are launching, normally what we would do is we would get into a parking orbit around the planet and then pick a good ascent path to the moon. Because of the moon's natural alignment right now, we're actually going to try to get onto our path to the moon on our liftoff approach here. Now, a few things to keep in mind about that is that, that path right there looks very odd, but it should bring us to just the light side of the moon, just barely. A good encounter, no periapsis. I think that's actually what we want. We got pretty lucky setting that up. So we're going to try to ascend directly to the moon to save a little bit of time. I realize that these videos average almost an hour apiece, which is ridiculous. Frankly, I don't think anybody watches the whole thing. But that's okay. Nobody watches all of the NASA missions anyhow. Well, when we had NASA missions. Not that I'm bitter. Jebediah dancing. He wants me to keep on track. He comes out and dances whenever I ramble. That said, we're going to get in position for our burn. We have our solar panels actually attached to an action group, so with the press of a button we can actually deploy all of our panels at once. Very useful feature there. You can see here the lights that we were talking about pointed downward to illuminate the surface should we be coming up on a dark side landing. We have our 2 goo pods, which are redundant. We really only need one. I have both installed for weight purposes. And other than that, it's pretty much the rocket we've all grown accustomed to around the space agency here. No sense redesigning anything yet. 3 minutes to go until our burn. Kind of a tall order at 1,300 meters per second. We're definitely going to lose our 2 side booster rockets during that time. And there they go. We'll jettison them because they're dead weight at that point. That didn't change our computer at all, so we should still be good. Already at 600, 700 kilometers on the opposite side. Trying to get to about 12 million is the height of the moon. Well, alright, 120,000 kilometers. 30 meters per second left. Having a huge effect over here. And that looks like it. Looks like we are at least matched with our computer model here. The sun being on this side, it looks like we're going to come in at the dark side. But that's okay. We're professionals here. Let's go ahead and not press the wrong buttons and zip on over there. Get up to about 1,000 times here. Looks like we only got about 3 hours total encounter time. Get ready to slow this down. That's going to be terrible for us, I think. Nope, we got lucky. I was hitting the map button there instead of the time dilation button. Our scientists, of course, very, very clever to have invented that time dilation button. Does not look like we're going to have a prime set of landing conditions, but it doesn't look like they're going to be catastrophic either. So let's go ahead and get ready to start bleeding off a lot of this speed. Overshot my vector there in my panic-stricken state, having almost fast-forwarded my way into the moon. Here we go. Now, as we approach the moon here, we're actually going to go ahead. Oh, we're falling very fast, so we're going to start the engines. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull in our panels. This is in case we come in a little too sideways or we tip over while we're landing. It's bad to snap those off. It really limits your time to figure out a solution to those kinds of problems. Trying to burn off as much of this orbital speed now while I can. I got our lights on. Let's get a little bit closer here. $14 kilometers. Coming in mostly vertical, which is good. I do not believe we can get any reports in terms of flying. I think close in space is the best we're going to get, so we're going to burn out the rest of this stage. Still falling mostly vertical. We're going to drop our gear. At 4 kilometers, unless our surface speed gets too fast, we're going to drop. Actually, it looks like it's going to be less than that. Probably around 5 kilometers. We're going to drop our stage, start slowing our descent again. Looks like we're coming into some really rough terrain. Turn our lights off to conserve batteries for the moment. Very rough terrain here, certainly not ideal. Remember, our landing gear can only maintain an impact speed of about 10 meters per second. We want to kill our horizontal speed here. That was too much, that was too much. As you can see, we started to climb. We don't want to climb, we want to fall very gently. I have no idea how high off the surface we are. It's a very difficult landscape to see. Lights doing their job here. Let's go ahead and get this as close to 0 as I can. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Ah, crap. Crap. No, no. Okay. So, we have fallen over. Which is not great. Not great at all. Let's go ahead and kill those lights. This could be tough for us to get off of. But I always have a couple tricks up my sleeve. First thing we're going to do, we're going to retract this landing gear here, if I can select it. Okay. Now we're going to very carefully try to select this panel. Oop. Roll this over. Managed not to break this set of panels, though. That's pretty good. Don't know what engineer designed them, but nice job. Okay. So, for the time being, we can definitely get out. We'll see what we can do to try to get us out of this predicament in a moment. And first, we're just going to try to get some data. We're technically in the Midlands, so we get 20 data from that, or 20 science from that. Get our mystery goo. We get 40 from there. We've got our science bay. We're going to go ahead and get 100 off of that. We're going to want a temperature scan. $32 off of that. We've already got our crew report, so we're going to do our EVA. Let's go ahead and get his report. Space above the Mun Midlands. Oh. Let's go ahead and actually get onto the Mun Midlands there, pal. Jebediah, we're going to take our surface sample for 120 science. The darker Midland surface appears to be made of basaltic rocks. Excellent, good to know. We're going to get our EVA report. You start to say something dramatic and poignant about the plight of Kerbal kind in this grand universe, only to be cut off by random radio chatter that the situation is normal. So, got that. Got a pretty nice situation here. Had you not seen us crash land, it would look like maybe we had some sort of flying vehicle here. They'll got our nice wings. You could pretend that those are extra engines. It would look really nice. So, that said, let's get back in. And let's try to think of a way to get out of this, shall we? So, first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to shut off this. And we're going to want to shut off this. Nope, nope, we want that one on. We want this one on. That one's off. This one's off. Okay, so we know the direction we want to go. We're going to turn on our RCS thrusters, and we're going to open up both of our panels here. Alright, so that didn't work as planned, but we got ourselves at a nice angle here. We're going to go ahead, we're going to enable our RCS ports all the way around. We're going to attempt to take off, and as we do so, we are going to pull back hard on the stick to try to keep us from crushing anything. namely those solar panels. So here we go, for all the glory. And we have successfully taken off. We're never going to get anywhere going at that trajectory. Used a lot of fuel doing that. Got 1 1/3 of our tanks left. Let's try to get a little bit more of an angle here. I do not believe we're going to have enough fuel to get home, but we were crashed on the surface, and through just being calm and relaxed and thinking things through, we were able to get off of it, which is always so important. Now, had we had more science under our belts, we definitely would have docking ports on this, and a rescue operation would be quite easy. However, we don't, so a rescue operation is actually gonna... I just don't think I'm gonna have enough fuel left. 1/3 of the way through our second tank now. What do I need to get into orbit here? I need 141. So we're going to have to get a craft that can get around the moon, get onto a similar trajectory to what we're in, and we're actually going to have to do an EVA to collect all of our samples and move them into the healthy craft, which will be fun. Not the same kind of fun you get in Dwarf Fortress, mind you. This will hopefully be the good kind. So here we go. Just going to try to get us into position here. 134 is what I need. We are in orbit. We got half a tank of fuel left. Let us just see, now that we're safe, make sure our solar panels are extended. They should be, because they're what saved us there. While I'm up here, I could be getting EVA reports of a few of the other... actually, an EVA report above this would be very useful. I mean, you might as well take advantage of all the situations you're given, right? Don't care about the Midlands. I've already seen the Midlands. Hell, I've been to the Midlands. Yeah, it looks like I'm not really anywhere near that. I will be when I get over this crater, though. Take advantage of as much as you can, right? I like that by default. He gets out and looks at his planet like, I want to go there. We're going to go ahead. Shoot. Out of sheer curiosity, what would it take to get us back home? I of course have multiple tricks up my sleeve here. One thing is I still have a fair amount of monopropellant fuel. I used more than I'd like to admit in that little crisis. Yeah. You'll have to forgive me because this will take some tinkering. In fact, this will take enough tinkering that I don't think it's going to be terribly interesting. I'm going to have to really weigh this out. I would assume, given the amount of fuel I have and the weight of my craft, I have about 300 meters per second that I can gain. I'm using my monopropellant, and that would be absolute tops. So whatever maneuver I do around the moon, and then any subsequent burning I would have to do to fall down to the planet would have to be within that amount. So that said, I will leave us off on this. I will try to figure out if there is a way for me to get home, and if there's not, I will design a rescue rocket to come get me. And but thank you for watching, and we did have an exciting little semi-crash landing there, which may or may not have made my heart stop for a few moments. But yeah, so I will see you next time. In the meantime, Jebediah will be hanging tough, staying strong, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.